Earl Anything. This is the show where your questions make the show, and without any questions, I don't have a show. This is for July 2023, and it's going to be released on July 4th, the 4th of July. Couple things before we get started, and I have a bunch of questions, a bunch of good questions. First off, I want to thank Rich Raw Dog Drums for this t-shirt. Rich Raw Dog, hopefully it's in the shot. Of course, not standing behind the camera, I never know if I'm in the shot or not. Rich Raw Dog has been a friend for quite some time. Goes back to the beginning of me getting in the drum community back in the day, 7 years ago. And anyhow, Rich, thank you for this wonderful t-shirt. And I look forward to wearing it in drum covers in the future. I just received it. So I'm looking forward to doing some more drum covers with the Rich Raw Dog shirt on. But today's Ask Earl Anything, I want to dedicate this to you, Rich, and thank you for the shirt. And tell all of you to go check out Rich Raw Dog Drums. He plays a lot of 90s. He's really into 90s music. And I think that goes the gamut of the grunge to all kinds of stuff. So he's really grunge and... trying to get the names of all the different genres of music. I only play classic rock, it seems like. I actually play a lot more than classic rock, and you all know that. But, 90s music, for me is Green Day and Weezer for the most part, even though I've done some other stuff that was done in the 90s, some chicks from the 90s and stuff. But, and every once in a while I'll pop something in that ends up being 90s music. But Rich really goes deep in not just the grunge, but I'm trying to think of what we call a Blink 182 kind of stuff, and what Green Day is. I mean, there's a name for that. Am I getting so old that I can't remember names of things? That's a possibility. It's kind of like the Clash. Gosh, what do we call that music? It's like the music I don't listen to a lot. That's the problem. I know it, but I don't listen to it a lot. I'm more likely to say I listen to hair band metal and heavy metal and that kind of stuff. But, there's a name for Blink 182 and Green Day. And he plays that stuff very well. And if I think of the name of it, I'm going to put it on the screen under me somewhere. So don't seem musically illiterate. I only listen to jazz and rock and classic rock. Listen to a lot of other different music, but classifying genres is crazy. I'm going to give a plug to my son-in-law, Aaron. Aaron Knight. Aaron Knight's my son-in-law. He just came out an album on Spotify. I'm going to put it up there. It's not going under his name. So let me see if I can find that real quick. I've been listening to his album. If you want something that sounds very classic rock-like, this album is that, but it was done in the 2023s. The name of his project is Colemer River Peace Treaty. Aaron, I don't know where you came up with that name. We're going to talk about that tomorrow when you come over for lunch. But at this point, Colemer River Peace Treaty on Spotify. It's available for anybody who's got Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon. Probably it's on YouTube somewhere. If I find it, I'll put a link to it. Really cool project. They recorded at my studio. I wasn't involved in it in any way, meaning I didn't engineer anything. My drums were involved in it, and some of my cymbals and snares were involved in it. Not sure which songs, but Ian, the drummer, is a friend of mine. I know Aaron played on some of his projects, so my son-in-law plays drums and keys and guitar and bass and sings and writes, and he's a superstar. So Aaron Knight, and the name of the project is Colemer River Peace Treaty. All right. So Rich Raw Dog, I want to push him first. Thank you, Rich. My son-in-law, Aaron Knight, and Colemer Peace Treaty. Okay, I think that's what it is. I lost it. It's gone. Now, next I want to talk about a couple other people. I'm not sure if I mentioned some of these people last time, but I want to thank all of my community. It's funny. I have a really interesting community right now. People that watch my drum covers every day. I've shouted out to them before, but the crew, Jeff, Greg, Elaine, my friend James Lyon, who made that one cover I did by Casting Crowns. Glorious Day. He made it over 1,000. I'm pretty sure he did it, because I know I didn't watch it more than 2 or 3 times. That was about it for me. But and the whole crew, D. I'm trying to think of all the names, but all you that watch me on a regular basis, thank you. You know, Carrie Churchill. I mean, there's a bunch of. I got some women. I got some guys. Mostly people that love yacht rock, love the kind of music I pick. I want to thank you all for being part of my community. Okay, and for the broader drum community that I'm a part of, but I don't participate in the Facebook groups and all the stuff that's going on. Thank you all for watching my drum covers too. I just want to thank you all for doing that. Got a lot of questions today. My first question comes from Jeff Holden, and here's what the question's about. I'm going to cut the camera. So this is from Jeff Holden. This is the question. Here's the question for next month's Ask Earl Anything. This was on last month's Ask Earl Anything. Where did you get that shirt? It's fantastic. Hope all is well, my friend. I have no idea what's going on the internet drumming world. So busy with gigging and work, I don't have time to even think about making a video. Now, Jeff is another one of my friends who I love from the old community. Jeff Holden, he goes by the music. Now it's just Jeff Holden. He switched his name back. Anyhow, Jeff, thanks for the question. This is the shirt he was talking about, the Drum Father. You've seen it in many drum covers. I believe this was bought at a t-shirt shop, and I think I put it in the answer, online through Google somewhere. And my daughter found the shirt, and she loved it. And my daughter Bethany loves to buy me shirts. My wife buys me shirts. Occasionally my daughter Sandra buys me shirts. But Sandra's more likely to buy me a drum knick-knack, like a little drizzle thing that comes off the cymbal, you know, those little hanging vinyl things that got the little bead on it. You know, I've had it from ProMark, and I make them myself. She's bought me that. She's bought me the drum muff type stuff. She'll buy me muffling dots. And she bought me one of those tortilla things, drum tortillas. She bought me one of those. So my daughter Sandra buys me little knick-knacky stuff for the drum kit, and Bethany tends to buy me shirts. So this is one of the shirts she bought, the Drum Father. One more push, the Drum Father. I think you can get it online. You just look up you look up t-shirts, drum t-shirts, the Drum Father t-shirt, and it'll come up, Jeff. I promise. And I said I was going to share that on Ask Earl Anything. So, Jeff, I miss you. I miss your drumming. If you don't subscribe to Jeff Holden, check his channel out. He's got a lot of old covers. He did some really great covers. There's one with him and I battling on Rosanna, and he kicked my butt. So we did a drum battle. Back in the days when I would do drum battles. I won't do drum battles anymore. I don't think I'm going to be doing any collaborations, but that's beside the point in the future. Collabs are really tough, and it's a lot of work to do them. So I think I'm done with my collaboration world. I'm going to stick to making my own drum covers and encouraging drummers throughout the land through what I do. All right, here we go. My next question comes from another one of my favorite friend drummers, AR drummer, Adam. Here's another question he said, another great Ask Earl Anything, and here's the question. If you can only play one snare drum, what would it be? Would it be made of maple, brass, etc.? And what size would it be? And also, what is your all-time favorite size for a ride cymbal? So I got 2 questions in there. One's my favorite snare drum, and then the other one is my favorite ride cymbal size. Let's start with the snare drum. It's very hard for me to pick snare drums. I have some beautiful snare drums. that I love. I have a specially custom-made snare drum made for me, which is a DMR cast aluminum snare drum, 6.5 by 14. Love the drum. It's cast aluminum. It's kind of like the Gretsch cast aluminum drums. Sounds amazing. It's got a Dunnett throw on it. Love the drum. Thank you, Dana DMR. It's called the Hammer. It's my namesake. It's not not my favorite drum. I have another drum called the Duke. It looks like a Radio King, but it's a walnut shell made by DMR custom drums, 7 by 14, solid shell. Love solid shell drums. That's 1-ply drums. Mine, it's got a mahogany look to it. Anyhow, that is one of my favorite drums, but it's not my favorite drum. My wife just bought me 2 Christmases ago a 6.5 by 14 Ludwig Black Beauty brass. Love the drum, but it's not my favorite brass snare drum. It's not my favorite. A drum that I would is probably as close to the favorite as any is my 5 by 14 solid shell Noble Cooley snare drum, which I love wood snare drums if they are solid shell snare drums. And that is my favorite wood snare drum, is my 5 by 14 Noble Cooley. And 5 by 14 is my favorite size. I think for a snare drum, the reason why it's my favorite size, it can go low, it can go high, so you can tune it up in the piccolo range, especially that drum. You can crank that drum up pretty good, and then you can tune it down if you want a lower drum. So when a 5 by 14 is one you can get low and high out of. The 6.5 by 14 kind of puts you in the mid-range. It's hard to get the high sound out of it. I mean, I can get some crack, and I did get some crack out of that 6.5 by 14 Black Beauty and my DMR, but it's hard to get crack out of it. So my favorite snare drum that I own today is my Ludwig Black Beauty. The Ludwig 5 by 14 Black Beauty is my favorite. I have customized it with a Dunnet throw-off on it that's designed for Ludwig snare drums with the bead. This is the bead, the rounded bead. This drum is heavy. I love it. I've told stories about this many times. This is the drum. By the way, this is the money drum. I pull this out and it's money. This is a money drum. By the way, I have played that DMR cast aluminum snare drum on a lot of projects for people in my studio. So when I'm in the studio and I'm doing like contemporary Christian worship music that I've done over the last bunch of years, that's the snare drum they go to usually. I didn't have the Black Beauty at the time, so that was my 6.5 by 14. That metal snare drum is the one most people pick. And it's been on a lot of projects. So I can tell you that that's a very well-recorded drum from a album project perspective that I've played on in the last 10 years. That's been the drum that gets picked. But my favorite drum in the studio for doing drum covers is this snare drum. And I seem to go to this all the time. This or the Noble Cooley. Cooley's got a little more crack than this. This has got more of the fat mid-range thing. The Cooley's got the mid-range thing with the crack. You can tune the Cooley down. You can definitely tune this down. You put a big fat snare drum on it or a ring on it. This changes the drum just enough. Same thing with the Cooley, by the way. They both do that. So that's my choice. I'll choose this. When it comes to ride cymbals, my favorite ride cymbal size, and this has taken years for me to get to this. I think I got my first 22-inch ride cymbal in 2000, I think it was 2002. It was a Sabian HHX Evolution. It was the Weckel cymbal, but with 2 inches on it. And I had one of those. It was custom made for me. A friend of mine who's an endorser got Sabian to make it for me. And I bought it. And I loved it, but it was a little big and it got in people's faces and I couldn't use it in every situation. Over the last 7 years, I would say since 2014, I've been playing 22-inch ride cymbals. And I have 4 of them presently. The first one I bought was a 22-inch Carope, which is kind of like a crash ride. The second one I bought was the Paiste 2000 Big Beat 22-inch. Love it. I almost bought a Paiste Giant Beat 22-inch, but I didn't. I got the Big Beat, and I'm glad I did. Because I got the 24-inch Giant Beat, which is kind of similar to the 22, except a little bit, I think it's a little bit lower pitched. This, my 22-inch 2002 ride, I love this cymbal. This is a very unique cymbal. It's for certain things. It's not everything. It's not the everyday cymbal. But between this and that Big Beat, I've got 2 great Paiste ride cymbals I can use for just about anything. And then I've got the 20-inch Dark Energy Mark I ride cymbal. So I've got that and a 602 20-inch medium to kind of cover my Paiste land. But 22 is my favorite ride cymbal size. And one more ride that's 22 inch that I have is a Zildjian Avidus. And I bought that because the Crope wasn't bright enough to play on rock stuff. It really is more of a jazz crash ride cymbal. So you can play that big washy ride stuff on that cymbal, but you can't get definition out of it like you can with the Big Beat. The Big Beat really showed me what a 22 could do. And I think the Avidus is close to the Big Beat. So I've got a Zildjian 22 inch, two of them. I've got two 22 inch Paistes. I have no equivalent of that in the Sabian world anymore because I gave away that. I traded that cymbal, that Evolution 22 inch ride. And if somebody's got a 22 inch Evolution ride, there's a possibility it came from me, especially if it's got a gram writing on the bottom of it. It says the grams on it. You bought it with the gram weight on it. That was me writing it on probably. So somebody got that cymbal. Anyhow, Adam, that's a great question. Thanks for the question, and thanks for being a part of Ask Earl Anything. As always, I always appreciate your questions. All right, my next question comes from my friend Jeff Metz. And Jeff said this. This was love the Ask Earl Anything. I guess I had something with the MK1 on there. Speaking of Paiste, what's your potential next purchase? I'm thinking I really like the concert tom kit with some ambassadors on it. Thinner, maybe breathe a little better, if that makes sense. Concert toms can feel a little muddy, and the thinner heads lessen the feel for me. Again, love Ask Earl Anything. Well, Jeff, since that show, as you know, I have put the clear ambassadors back on this kit. And I don't know if my next purchase is going to be a set of coated ambassadors for the concert tom kit. I'm starting to think I might want to go coated ambassadors on this kit. Of course, I really want to buy a 6-inch fiberglass tom. I did a whole video on why I want a 6-inch fiberglass tom to go with this. By the way, I hit up Jenkins and Martin trying to get them to make me a fiberglass 6-inch tom, and they said we don't make anything like the Pearl fiberglass, so we're not gonna make you one, and go find one on eBay or something. Finding one on eBay is not that easy. Finding one on Reverb is not that easy. Any of you guys got a line on a 6-inch, 5.5 by 6-inch Pearl fiberglass, any color, any wrap color, I'll take it. I did find one that was painted. I just didn't want it. I'd have to strip the paint off it. That seemed like a pain in the rear end. But if it's got a covering on it, I know what to do with it. So that's definitely something I'm looking for. The other purchase might be a Paiste PSTX 18-inch medium I'm looking at. I have a 20 medium. It's got a crack in it, and I know that's going to go one day. So I've been looking at the 18. It actually sounds really cool. So I love the PSTX with the holes in them, and I like the mediums better than the thins. So that's 3 things I might buy. Oh, I didn't tell you what I did buy, though. All right, and this I don't have this, but I'll show you this. We've been talking about these hi-hats the last couple of Ask Earl Anythings. This is my original Paiste 505 medium hi-hat bottom 14 that goes over the Paiste 2000 regular sound edge bottom. I found on eBay last week for $30 and shipping a 505 medium bottom cymbal. It came in on Friday. I used it as the top cymbal on the song Melissa by the Allman Brothers. Tell me if you can hear a difference between that and any of the other covers I've done with this one. I think there's a slight difference, so I've relegated that to being my bottom of my 505 hi-hats. I've got a couple covers coming out with the 505 set, and it doesn't have the original 505 top on it because that 505 bottom has the original 505 top, doesn't have the original 505 bottom because that bottom is now part of this hi-hat set. So this sound edge set that I created by your inspiration, by the way, you guys are the ones who said to me, hey, that sounds pretty cool together. I've been using it for 2 years now, and I don't know. There's just a certain bite to it that works, cuts through on stuff. I love it. So that's staying there. I just bought another bottom for the 505s. I also got the Rude with the 2000 Sound Edge reflector top. I've got 3 great pairs of 14-inch Paiste cymbals, plus the Rude set of hats. And I've got my 15-inch giant beats, and I got a set of 13-inch Dimensions hi-hats, light heavy. I've got more Paiste hi-hats than I know what to do with right now. So Paiste hi-hats are my thing, and I've also got 2 sets of Zildjians. I got a set of 14-inch new beats and a set of Karoq 14-inch. So I've got enough hi-hats to go and do all kinds of stuff. Plenty of ride cymbals too, as you can tell. Anyhow, I just wanted to tell you about the 505 bottom find. $30. That was a find, by the way. So I really enjoyed getting that one. Thank you all for watching this. I appreciate that. All right. Next question comes from Jim Flies 2. Jim Huey. He said, cool double pedal action. And so this is a question about the double pedal. Do I lead with my left or my right foot on the double pedal? And that's a valid question. Now, I don't have a double pedal on this kit. But I will tell you that when I play double pedal duggas, it's not right, left, right, left. It's left, right, left, right. Why? I think I've gotten very used to using the left foot on 8th notes. So doing that is easier than doing with the bass drum. That actually fast on the double pedal is not that easy. It's easier to go. Get the idea? So I am kind of a left foot lead on double pedal. I'm not a double pedal player. I don't call myself a double pedal player. I don't call myself a double pedal player. I just goof around with it. And I've been goofing around with that for since somewhere in the 90s I picked it up. I almost didn't do it in the 90s. I almost said I'm never going to play double pedal because it was just, to be honest, it was like learning to play drums again when I first put it on the kit. But after goofing with it a bit, it's nice to have once in a while. So I got it. All right, let's see. The next question. Thanks for the question, Jim. The next question comes from Greg Oneoff. Greg's another one of the followers, guys who follow my stuff every day. He said, it's a question about drums. Do you think there's a difference in a true concert tom set and a two-headed set that has the bottom removed? So is there a difference taking the bottom head off of a double-headed drum versus a concert tom? And I'd say the only difference is going to be aesthetically. It's not a sound thing. If you take the bottom heads off your double-headed drums, you are going to get the sound of concert toms. It's just the truth. If you have double-headed drums, though, it's going to look aesthetically wrong to have the bottom head off. But there's been plenty of rock drummers that have done it over the years, the most famous being John Densmore of the Doors. He had both of his toms with bottom heads removed on his psychedelic orange Ludwig, small Ludwig kit that he played with the Doors. So there's lots of guys that did that in the 70s. It was like, take the bottom heads off. I did that in the 70s. I had a blue Vistalite concert tom kit because I took the bottom heads off the 12 and the 13. I wouldn't take it off the floor tom, though. And that's why, for this kit, I'd love to find a floor tom so I can have a floor tom sound at the bottom and then have the concert tom sound for what I do. But I have to admit, the 15-16 here works really well. This 12, 14, 15, 16 is a great sound. Of course, 8, 10, 12, 14, 15, 16 works. But I'd love to have an 18-inch floor tom. If I had an 18-inch floor tom, 16, 18, that'd be like Phil Collins type stuff, you know what I mean? So, something to think about. But, nope, no difference. You're fine doing it. I will say it's easier to tune concert toms. Double-headed toms take a little bit more to tune. You got to get the relationship between the bottom and the top head right to make it work. So, and there's an art to it, and I've been doing it for years. I'm not going to go into a tuning lesson because that's a whole other thing. I should do that as a separate event, drum talk event, which I probably have somewhere down the back of my catalog. All right, my next question is from somebody called Buddha of Blackpool. and it's a song called Just the Way You Are, Billy Joel cover. He's watching it. He says, what is the name of the beat called, if it has a name, for the Billy Joel song Just the Way You Are? So, you all know Just the Way You Are. Don't go changing to try and please me. Well, that one, believe it or not, when I was playing weddings and stuff, it would be something like... That was the way I would play the song. Or... So it had that little tom thing. I was watching Liberty DeVito do a clinic. It's got to be 15 years ago on YouTube, believe it or not. Early YouTube. And he said, I played Just the Way You Are with a brush. So when I did a cover of Just the Way You Are, I did it the Liberty way of playing the pattern. And the Liberty way of playing the pattern, there is no 1 and 3 on the bass drum. The bass drum is 2 and 4. And the snare drum plays, watch this. This is it. So it sounds like this. One, two, three. Get the idea? So that's my bad singing and everything included in that take. So what would I call that beat? Well, it's a ballad, but it's not your normal ballad, because normal ballads are... That would be a normal ballad with a 1 and a 3, 2 and a 4 and. That's not it. This is a reggae beat. This is reggae, what we're playing here. But he straightened it up. So by straightening up the pattern, with the brush pattern, and straightening it up eighths, he kind of turned a reggae thing into this really unique pattern for a very popular hit song from the 70s. So it's kind of a variation on a reggae groove. That's what I would call it. And it's not a rock thing. It's a reggae thing. And the 2 and the 4 reggae pop was made famous by the drummers of reggae, the Bob Marleys, the Sly and Robbies, you know. Robbie, you know, being the bass player, Sly Dunbar being the drummer. They made that drop 2 or drop 3 beat, whatever you want to call it. They made it popular. Then you got Stu Copeland making it popular with the Police. But guys like Roger Hawkins, I'll Take You There. I'll take you there. That's a reggae, drop reggae beat. And Liberty DeVito on this one, it's a reggae beat. So if you want to look at the history of that groove for Just the Way You Are by Billy Joel, it goes back to a reggae groove. So hope that helped you. I did kind of say that to you. I think I called it, it's a ballad played with a reggae kick drum. So I said I would try to explain it this month. hopefully you watched. All right, the next question. This is another question from Greg One-Off. Thank you, Greg, for the second question. He said this: I know everyone is different, but is there a standard rule for the way drummers set up crash cymbals? Are they set up highest pitch to lowest pitch or lowest to highest? Or are they scattered wherever? I'm just wondering about that lately. All right, to be honest, and I'll be purely honest, it's whatever your ears are hearing for the songs you're playing. For this kit, I usually have the 20 over here, but I've had the 20 over here sometimes. I like the 18 here, but I've had the 20 there. I've had the 18 here. I've had a 16, 18, 20. It all depends on what I'm hearing that day if I flip things around. So the truth of the matter is there is no rhyme or reason to where you put crash cymbals. It's what your ears hear is where you naturally place the sound you want when you want to crash, where the easiest place for you to hit it. I've been setting up this kit with the 1820 for so long, it kind of stays that way, but it changes every once in a while. I just did a Carpenter song last weekend called Only Yesterday. It's a revisited song, and I took this 18-inch giant beat over here, and I put it where the China is, and I moved the China over here. Why did I do that? Not because I needed to hit the China at all. I wanted a crash cymbal that wasn't this crash cymbal, the 2505, that would just break it up when I came around the kit. I wanted to hit a nice, thin crash. So it was a choice based on the song. So the song dictates where I put cymbals. That's the way I look at it. And Greg, I hope that answers that question. So I have two more questions. This will be an easy question to answer, and then I have one more question after that just came in today. This question came from Rovan60. He watched me play You're My Best Friend by Queen last weekend. He said, is there any chance you could do Blue Collar Man by Styx? Well, to be honest, yes, I can. And I did a cover of it this weekend. So Blue Collar Man by Styx should come out after Ask Earl Anything. That's the goal. So I don't think I'm going to put it out before, but I'm definitely going to put it on. I'm going to put it out after. So yes, I'm going to be doing that song. It's coming up. By the way, if you have a request for a song, send it my way, and I'll do my best to do it. Sometimes I'm just not inspired by your song pick, and it may never get done. If I'm inspired by it, it might get done. So I'll just leave it like that. Sometimes songs like inspire me. Now, I will tell you this about Blue Collar Man. Hard song, not easy. I don't really have the chops to play that song, but I did my best. Gave it my best shot, got through it. I think it turned out okay. You'll be the judge. I'm sure of that. Thanks for the question. My last question, and this question came in right before I sat down here, and it's a tough question to answer. It's my friend Vince. He's been going by Vince Gomez for a long time to me. He's asked a lot of questions on Ask Earl Anything. And it's a heartfelt question, and you know what? I felt like I'm in the right place to answer this question. I went to church this morning, different church than where I normally go. A friend of ours is the pastor of the church. It was a gospel church. You know, it was a gospel church. I hadn't been in a good gospel church in a long time. Really enjoyed the service, really enjoyed the worship, really enjoyed the word. And at the end, I was talking to the pastor, who's a friend of ours, a friend of my wife's more than me, but he knows me. And he's been over my house. And he said, what are you doing? I said, well, I'm not playing drums in church as much. I'm not at all anymore right now. For about a year, I haven't played drums in church. So I'm really just playing on YouTube, you know. And he goes, well, you know, you got a lot of followers on YouTube, I heard. Yeah, I got a bunch. He goes, well, that's good. That's a good place. You're getting the word out. You know, this show is what this is about. I get to share my life, and I get to share my thoughts about life here on this show. So thank you for asking. And I came home and I got this question, and it kind of hit me. It was like right before I walked up here, pretty much. So here we go, Vince. Hey, Earl, I recently had an unexpected, tragic, horrific loss of a loved one. As you know, you've had in your life, as I know you've had in your life. I need to know if it gets better. God is walking my family through the pain, but it hurts. What part did faith and drumming have in your healing process? I have an eternal hope, but right now it just hurts. Thank you for all you do. Much love. Well, Vince, thank you. And first off, I did send you my email address so that you can write me and send me your phone number. I'll be happy to talk to you on the phone. I do look at this as a ministry in some extent. I'm not real evangelical about it, and I really don't get into having altar calls at the end of my, Ask Earl Anything show. But I will say this: faith and drumming for me go hand in hand. Faith and marriage go hand in hand. Faith and loving your loved ones go hand in hand. And without faith, I could not have gotten through the last almost 4 years. It'll be 4 years in August when my son passed away. You all know the story. I don't need to go into the story. Those 4 years without faith and without this outlet to play drums, I don't know what I would have done. I mean, grief is something, it just tears you up inside. Some people just lay on a bed and they just get really, really depressed. Faith is the thing that has helped me to have the hope to know where my son is. And there's a scripture that I recommend you read, Vince. It's Revelation 21, verse 4. And it goes on, I'm paraphrasing because I don't have the Bible here right now, but it's a paraphrase of, there'll be no more sorrow, no more sickness, no more pain. And what we're talking about is when we come to live with the Lamb, and the bride and the Lamb come together in heaven. At the end of the new age, there'll be a new heaven and a new earth. Read all of Revelation 21. Start there in Revelation 21 and 22. It's a great hope passage of where we go when this life ends. And I don't know where you guys all sit with where you think life is going. And if you're young enough, you shouldn't be thinking about it at all, probably. But when you get older, you start to think about things like that. And trust me, when somebody dies, you really start to think about those things. So let me say it this way. I've had an eternal hope since I was a young child. Probably 9 or 10 it started. 18, I confessed Jesus as my Lord and Savior, and a little born-again experience in college. I continued with my strong faith and being a part of the church and being a part of God's people since I was 18 years of age. And it's just continued my whole life. And without the community, without my personal relationship with the Lord, without a family that has an understanding of God, and without the great hope that one day there will be no more sorrow or pain, and that where we go and we take from this life something from this life to the next life, and there is a next life, I would be depressed as all hell, to be honest. But I'm not. I'm able to get through it. But is there pain? Vince, there's pain. There's a lot of pain. And you will go through the stages of grief, which will be denial. It'll be anger. It'll be depression. And then I forget them all the stages. I went through all of them. And by the way, the stages of grief are not like you do this first and you go there, and then you go here and you go here. It's not how it works. They keep coming at you at all different angles all the time. I mean, I was in acceptance before the funeral, and then after the funeral, I went into anger, depression, anger, denial. There's always this thing where it says, I could have done something to change something. The hardest lesson I've learned in the last 4 years is that I can't change anything. I'm powerless to change anything except myself in the situations I'm in now. So I have to accept the things I cannot change. And that's a 12-step program thing. I'm not even in 12 steps, but I know that one. It's the serenity prayer. You have to trust your higher power that you can't change the things you cannot change. You can only change the things you can change. That usually has to do with yourself. You can't change the circumstances around your life. And sometimes you can't change things in yourself either. So, did drumming help? Yes, very much so. Matter of fact, that's why I was drum cover after drum cover after drum cover every day for so long. I'm just starting to back off on drum covers, guys. I don't know if you're realizing it, but I'm knocking 1 or 2 off a week now. And I probably need to knock it off to like 3 or 4 times a week, or maybe 3 times a week. And it may happen because I'm so busy in my day job, and I'm so busy with my family, and I'm so busy doing the things that are important in life, because drums are not the most important thing, but they are important to me. They've been a healing power in my life, because when I play drums, I feel alive. So drumming is the place where I feel alive. But you also need to find that alive feeling from your loved ones, being with the people that you love and are near and getting close to them. You need to find somebody you can share your feelings with. I did go to counseling. I still have some sessions left with my counselor. Every once in a while, I feel like I almost call him. So there's nothing wrong with talking to somebody, be it your pastor or be it some kind of a, psychologist, that can help you, allow you to talk about your feeling and your pains, or a grief group at a church. Going to a grief group. I've never gone, but I've thought about it many times, going to a grief group. These are places you can share your experiences with other people, and they can sit in your pain. And that's why I said to you, Vince, if you need to talk to somebody, please let me know, and I'll find a way to call you and talk to you about it. I do talk to people that have lost children a lot, but any loss, once you've been through that level of loss, trust me, you can talk to people about pain because you can identify. And all I would say is you have to work through the pain. And that pain, that turns to numbness at some point. And eventually it turns to trust and acceptance that God's there, and there's a plan in all this. I don't know what the plan is, though. I would never sit and say God had a plan for whatever happened to you. Because I don't really know the plan about my son, but I do know my son is okay. And I do know the people I've lost in my life, they're in a better place than I'm at right now. This world is not a great place, believe it or not. But it is the place we know, place I want to be, and I want to be utilized in this world to help others see compassion and love and God through compassion and love towards them. Matter of fact, that's how we really communicate the gospel. It's not what we say about it. Like you need these things to become saved. It's not that at all. It's how we love people. That says the gospel to people. So Vince, yes, drumming and my faith helped me immensely. And I'm sure you've got some practical questions you want to ask me, and I'd love to talk to you about it. So I'm not a counselor. I'm just a person who's been through pain. And that's where I'm coming from. So I'm here for you, Vince. You want to talk, let me know. Everybody, thank you for watching Ask Earl Anything. I'm sorry it gets heavy sometimes, but part of this show is I care about people. I care about the people in my community. By the way, thank you, Rich Raw Dog, for this shirt one more time. Okay? I sent you a note today. Respond to the note with what I asked. Okay? And everybody out there, remember, your questions make the show. Without questions, I don't have a show. Thank you so much for watching Ask Earl Anything. Please like and subscribe. I should say that in the beginning. Please buy my merch. Whatever. Love y'all. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Bye.